छाया आसमान में, देखो झूमता गगन, हे छाया आसमान में जहां, देखो झूमता गगन, झूमे ज़मीं आसमान, पूछ गया झूमता गगन, आसमान मेरे झूम ले जहां, ये कैसा नशा प्यार का समान, रही समा झूमे आसमान, होश तो खोले प्यार तू ले ले संग मेरे झूम जा, कैसा नशा होश है कहाँ, होश तो खोले प्यार तू ले ले संग मेरे झूम जा.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Wrestler Weekly Presents. I'm your host, Scottie Richardson of Wrestler Weekly, and man, I'm so glad that you have joined us today, tonight, in the morning, in the evening, whenever you have clicked the link, whenever you have received it in your email, wherever you are getting your Wrestler Weekly fix. And again, we're across all social media outlets: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, here, our home on our YouTube channel. Wrestler Weekly Presents is back, season 5. And I know, it's kind of like Michael Jordan, retired and then came back, and Evander Holyfield retired and came back. And, right now we see all the highlights and different videos that are popping up. Mike Tyson even maybe going to make a comeback. But, yours truly, kind of like Godfather 3, the famous scene, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. So we're back, season 5, and we're excited about it. Just to kind of give you a little bit of what's been going on. So let's just take you back. Season 1 was back in my Myrtle Beach days when I was working with Tommy Wildfire Rich in the Wildfire Rich School of Wrestling. That was in 2017. Hard to believe that season 1 was way back in 2017, back in the summer. And, season 1 is 15 episodes, a lot of bonus episodes. You can find all this on our YouTube channel. And we had just great guests. That first season, we started having some guests, and I'll tell you, that first year, here's what we did. I took all my magazines and decided I would put them by year. And so what we did was went through, and so one episode would be, let's just say, 1977. Then the next week was 1978. So I went through those magazines all the way to about 1992. I believe that's when I stopped. And so just, so if you want to go back, it's kind of that format feel was a little different. We had Duke from Duke Loves Wrestling, and we had Jim Valley on as guest. Mike Leotis, who's part of Wrestler Weekly now. Back then he was just a wrestling historian guru. Obviously my brother Reggie Richardson was on the show, and that season finale is a great one, and has a little bit of controversy in there, so you should go back and check that out, because we talk about and Zeus and I have many debates on this, the one true real world champion, the bloodlines of the championship. You can go back season 1 episode 15, the season finale. Then as we rolled into season 2, we kind of did a little bit more of a territory feel. Those episodes were focused on, one week would be Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, where I grew up. The next would be Championship Wrestling from Florida, which we moved to in 1981, and I had B. Brian Blair on as a guest during that time. We talked about Georgia Championship Wrestling. My great buddy Nick McDaniel from Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network was on the show. We had we went to Japanese. We did the world class. We did Memphis. We did a lot of different things in that season. Territory talk is kind of what we put it out there as. And then season 3, we really dug deep into guests. That was kind of more of a podcast feel. Went hour long. Did some Broadways. I went to Broadway with Austin Idol, the Universal Heartthrob, my great friend. I did an hour Broadway with Les Thatcher. We went an hour with George South, but opened up the first episode was with Bill Apter. So these are great things, and we talk about wrestling magazines, we talk about signed collectibles, memorabilia. So if you're tuning in new and you're here in season 5, there's a plethora of information out there and some other great things you can go to. But season 3 was more of that guest feel. We had Mike Mooneyham on, and you're looking at Family Bacon Wrestling, the book that I had written, and Duke from Duke Loves Wrestling, Jim Valley, and Mike Mooneyham were the reviewers on this book. So if you want to check that out, you can find it on Amazon. And so would love for you to do that. And if you want to send it to me, I'll sign it for you, send it back. I've done that for a few people as well. Season 4, which was like the series finale, we actually moved into this facility where I'm at now, which is my actual man cave. Season 4 was a little bit more intimate. We didn't have, every season's 15 episodes. Season 4 was a little bit less. And we had some unboxing. We had some belts. We had some other things in season 4 that was more memorabilia driven. Did a lot of stuff with PWI since it was the anniversary of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Harry Burkett was on as a guest. And so, again, great things that are out there that you can check out. But what I'm going to do now in season 5, and by the way, if you're into music, season 3 had a lot of, I opened the show with some vinyl and all that kind of great stuff, and went through some of my records, and I'm a collector. I mean, I wish I could pan the camera around the man cave, but literally, and Matty Montcalm, who's a brother, my great friend of mine he runs Wrestling with Classics. You've probably seen his stuff out there. But Matty and I always have this funny conversation because of all the things that I do collect. I mean, from Yankees baseball cards to Marvel, certain Marvel figures, Toy Biz. I'm big into comics. Nick McDaniel and I talk about the comics that I'm into. More on the Marvel side, but I have dipped over into some DC with the Joker, love the Joker, and some other things there. But just looking around the room, big into Clemson Tigers football, big into horse racing, big into boxing. Again, my collection is just endless and is all around the man cave here. So, but what I want to do for season 5 is, because it's season 5 and the emphasis is going to be on 5. So here's what I'm thinking. Today, it's Wednesday, July 1st. So if you're watching this later on, this is July 1st. And so on Wednesdays, I actually went back to the original Twitter format. Our original Twitter format theme was Sundays. It's been this way from Sundays, but we'll always do a shout out. The Wrestler Weekly Sunday shout out. And I usually pick a fan or a podcast or a wrestler or somebody in the business that we want to give a shout out to. And so Monday, it's always been, first it was Monday Mag Memorabilia, then it changed to Hot Mag because Hot Mag became a kind of a buzzword here on the show. And Mike Leotis picked up on it and said, hey, Hot Mag, what is the Hot Mag for today? So we changed that, and we put out on Mondays a magazine that is maybe rare. And again, I deal in signed magazines. I do have a good collection of what I call clean or unsigned magazines, but my focus has always been on the signed mags. And Tuesdays we talk about Tuesday takeaway. We have a little bit of a discussion and put that out there for our fans and friends and followers to discuss and talk about. And then on Wednesdays, we've always done the Wrestler of the Week. And really, that's how we got started, is on my personal Twitter handle, I was doing Wrestler of the Week every Wednesday. And man, it just blew up. And on Thursday, I started doing Throwback Wrestler of the Week. And then it blew up. And then finally I said, you know what? I need to create just a wrestling only thing, because I'm an athletic director. I'm a basketball coach, high school boys basketball. I just celebrated my 25th year in the business. My dad coached for 40 years. And so I got 15 more to go to get there. But, and again, I've had a great coaching career. I'm still going. We've produced 60 college basketball players in my 25 years, and I'm not slowing down. But we had to move that off that platform and get that over into its own platform. So I remember sitting in my office, and I was trying to figure out, and I've got a marketing degree, so that helps. And I've worked in corporate America with some marketing, worked with SiriusXM during the merge with I was on the XM side when the merge was Sirius. And then also did some rebranding when AIG got the bailout. And so we had to remarket and rebrand. So have some experience, which helps in this line of work. But I said, we got to come up with something here. And so that's how at Wrestler Weekly, the name Wrestler Weekly was born. And it just has blown up. And this October, we will celebrate our 4th year. We started in October of 2016, so we're getting close to that 4-year anniversary. It's hard to believe. I remember my good friend Shane Helms, Hurricane. He told me that most people don't last 2 years in this business, and if you can keep your passion, you will do well. And so 4 years. We did take a little hiatus the last 45 days, but we're back, we're strong, we're ready to roll. And so what I want to do for you is go 5 magazines of what we've put out on Wednesday as our Wrestler of the Week. So if you have been following us on today, which this is Wednesday, July 1st, again, if you're watching this later, you probably have already seen the Wrestler of the Week. And we used to do current wrestlers, but I'm going to do the classic legendary wrestlers. And so it won't take away from Throwback. We'll do something special for Throwback Thursdays. And then just to complete because I am rambling, is Friday we do Friday ratings, which is always cool. Everybody loves it. We go back to my favorite, Inside Wrestling or The Wrestler or PWI. We get the ratings, put them out there, kind of show what it was back in the day. And then Saturdays are big day. Saturdays are our showcase of something big, something large, something rare, something great. And that's the WW Saturday, the Showcase Saturday, where we really put out some great memorabilia. Reggie has been just hot on that stuff with the figures, and he's got a new one that he posted in our private group that we have on Facebook. But he will put that out there on Saturday, so be watching for that. So today's July 1st Wrestler of the Week was Ricky Steamboat, and not the Dragon. I like Ricky the Dragon, but I tell you what, I grew up in the Mid-Atlantic Championship era, Mid-Atlantic Championship territory, and in that area, and born in Abington, Virginia, if you know where that is, Southwest Virginia, lived in Marion, Virginia. We moved to Lynchburg, so I was there until the 3rd grade. So those early years, we're talking late 70s. I was born in early 70s, so that 1970 package there is when it was Mid-Atlantic, man. This is what it was about. Saturday morning, this is what the book's about. Saturday morning, when you smelled the bacon, you knew it was time. The whole family came over, and right in front of the TV, Blackjack Mulligan, Bob Caudle, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Jay Youngblood, Big John Studd, Ken Patera, Johnny Weaver, all those wrestlers I grew up with. Then in 1981, we moved to Jacksonville, Florida. I grew up in Florida. 1987, we moved to Raleigh. 1988, we moved to Hickory. 1989, we moved back to Florida. So all that's in the book. And a lot of my memorabilia got burned up by my father. That's in the book. Check it out, Amazon.com. Also, got a blurb here. Let me take care of that. And so here we go. 5 magazines, Ricky Steamboat. They're my 5 favorite I'm going to showcase tonight. And so this is the first one, October of '79. My birthday's in October. Looking through the magazines as a kid, always wanted this one, always wanted this belt. And not only do I have the belt custom made, it's signed by this man, Ricky Steamboat, also signed by Ric Flair. You can check that out. I've posted it many times before. This is Sports Review Series, Wrestling Superstars, October 1979. Beautiful. Doesn't get much better than this. It's art. It speaks to me. Hopefully it speaks to you. Signed. I met Ricky many times, but one in particular was in Dorton Arena. I got a chance to meet him inside an arena that was so special to Mid-Atlantic. Great conversations that I've had with him through the past. Actually, I wrote an article, 720wrestling.com. Ricky Steamboat, J. Youngblood, if you want to check that article out. This next one is a classic. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, May of 1981, with the stash. New Era podcast did an interview with me, and I talked about this one. Nick McDaniel, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, did an interview. It's also signed by the man, Brent Hardison. This is Ricky Steamboat. Oh my goodness. The Mid-Atlantic Championship belt. My brother has it. He has it signed by Ricky Steamboat. Here's the mag signed. Also signed by Brent Hardison. If you don't know who Brent Hardison is, then here's what I will tell you to do. Buy my book. Buy the book, and you'll know who Brent Hardison is and why he signed the magazine. I don't want to give it away. Amazon.com. And so, oh, by the way, you want this t-shirt? ProWrestlingTees.com. ProWrestlingTees.com. Get this one. Has the little line there. You know what that's from? Worldwide Wrestling. Came on Saturday nights when I was a kid, right after the local news. And ProWrestlingTees.com for all your / Wrestler Weekly, all your needs. And right now, great sale going on July 4th. Here we go. Ricky Steamboat, trailer park, ad in the paper, mid to late 90s, in a trade paper, no internet, no eBay. I put an ad in the paper. I drove, I don't know, maybe 5-6 hours across the state of North Carolina near the beach, middle of nowhere, no cell phone. Found the guy on a paper map, found his trailer, 10 o'clock at night. Could have been anybody, could have been a mass murderer, who knows, kidnapper, who knows. Got in there. He says the mags are in the back. I walked down a small hallway. Oh my goodness, could have been anybody. I wasn't scared. You know why? Because he had a box of wrestling magazines, and I was getting ready to get a haul. You ever had a haul? Flea market, eBay, Facebook market, collectors. You know what I'm talking about when you get that haul. Here we are. He says back room. I go in the back room, and there it is, a stack of mags, and this one is on top. And it was like, you know, the angels were singing, the lights were shining, and made a great deal. You can read more about that story in my book. Now, a couple seasons ago, I did a 1-hour deep dive. When I say deep dive, I went 1 hour by myself, deep dive into the feud, the greatest feud of all time, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. And this is the wrestler from June of 1982, signed by both men. Now, I have a lot of their signed mags and memorabilia up on the wall, so I didn't want to pull that down, but this is one that's still in my Ric Flair box of 55 signed magazines that I have of Ric Flair. But this feud, it really culminated in what I'm going to show you here in 1989 in my last of the 5. But for me, and again, I did the deep dive. You can go back and check it out. But for me, 1978, any of those, you find an 8mm, no sound, just the crowd, no announcing, any of their matches, and I'm telling you right now, it is poetry in motion. It is like watching, at a ballet or an opera or something at an art gallery. You're walking. These two guys knew how to do it, and they're the best of all time. When they got them in the ring, it was magic. And here it is, signed by both, and also this one, the famous one. A lot of you have this one, Inside Wrestling, June 1989. Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, both signed. The trilogy. I know my good buddy Matty loves the trilogy. Here is Ricky with the big gold. And so these are just phenomenal mags. I have to come up with I'm going to talk to Mike, talk to a little bit about some kind of a tagline for the Big Five, the Fab Five, the Frenzy Five, who knows what. But here they are again. My five for Wrestler of the Week: Ricky Steamboat, big gold, signed PWI. That one is July of '89. Inside Wrestling, Flair and Steamboat, boom. How about this one? The classic from 1982. I want to give a shout out to Bill Pavlik. Bill has been a brother of mine for a while here in the wrestling game. He is the king of the wrestling magazines. He's got them all, and he's got more knowledge than everybody combined. He is the king, and so I want to give a shout out to him. Here we go with this one. These two, man, I really should frame these. They're two of my favorites. When I was a kid, I never thought I'd own them. Reggie's got this belt. I got this belt. Both signed by Ricky Steamboat. We're living the dream. We're living the dream. And so, again, Family Bacon Wrestling. Let me give one more shout out to my great friend, Universal Heartthrob, Austin Idol. Austin Idol has the Universal Wrestling College. Austin Idol's Universal Wrestling College. If you want to be a professional wrestler, you've got to get on the phone and get Austin Idol to get you hooked up, man, because he's got a great thing going right now, Greenville, South Carolina, and maybe you too can one day get a check for $5,000 from the Battle Royal winner. That could be you. But call up Austin Idol. Check him out online. He's on all social media outlets as well. And then the last thing I want to do tonight is I want to show you this. Look at this. I mean, I have been stockpiling for this season. Now I'm going to tell you, I got my trusty scissors here. I'm going to open up one of these every show. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes it may not even be wrestling. So if it's not wrestling and it's something else I'm collecting, then I'll go to another one. We'll open up two. But just wanted to give you that disclaimer. Reggie, my brother, and Mike Leotis, Reggie Richardson, the doctor, they also want to thank all of our friends, our fans, our followers for tuning in to Season 5 of Wrestler Weekly Presents, and also being a follower, a subscriber. Give us a like on Facebook. Oh, wow. This one is Summer of 1979, the Wrestling Picture Book. I love this feud. I have a magazine signed with Nick Bockwinkel versus Dusty Rhodes. I have them, both have signed it. And this is a mag that I really didn't even know existed until recently. And with the help of my good buddy Bill Pavlik and my brother Reggie. But this is got, I mean, you just look at it. Can you believe these on the cover? We just talked about it. Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. I did not plan it. It's totally random, but that worked out pretty good. And then here we go. Nick Bockwinkel, Dusty Rhodes. Oh man, would you love to just have that on the marquee and grab you some popcorn and sit back and watch that match? Wow. What if you had to watch these two matches back to back in one night? I mean, my goodness, you don't even need anybody else on the card. This is a WrestleMania right here. My goodness, Starrcade, whatever you, Super Clash, it doesn't matter. We'll call it whatever you want. But that's from the vault, and now from the unboxing, open up the packaging, whatever you want to call it. All right, here we go. We're at the 24-minute mark. I hope you have enjoyed Season 5 episode. Really, if you think about it, we're at episode 4 because we had some sneak peeks along the way. But I'm glad you joined in. We're going to do this again next week, and we'll find out who's going to be that Wrestler of the Week. What are those 5 mags going to be? Do you own those mags? Are they clean? Are they signed? Do you have them both? I mean, I know, here, look, here's my buddies, Reggie Hart, Mike Parker, David Peck, Matty Montcalm. I mean, all these guys, we're like a family. We're a fraternity of collectors, and hopefully you're out there and you can send us a message and let us know you're doing it as well. Follow us all over the place at Wrestler Weekly, T-shirts, ProWrestlingTees.com. Until next time, fans, as my great friend Bob Caudle always said, until next time, fans, so long for now.
Wrestler Weekly coming at you live. Tommy Wildfire Rich. The big debate. Old school, new school. Who cares? Wrestling Weekly, they bring you all the news.